are you doing today, sir?
I'm well, How are you?
I'm doing good. So we're here at the Toronto Film Festival, which clearly people can tell by the background behind you. This is your directorial debut, and the film is in the Toronto Film Festival. What does it mean to you to be part of the festival, to be invited to participate?
It's a great honor. Great honor. Yeah. Yeah, on top of that, it's a place where I grew up here in Toronto. So, you know, I remember my first festival was in, what, 1983, 85? You know, I've had a few films come here, been a part of a few films that have come to the festival, and it's yeah, so it's great. It's a great honor.
I saw the film already. I'm going to say congratulations, sincerely.
Thanks.
You managed to do, it's a very cool movie, loaded with some incredible martial arts. Talk a little bit about how tough it was for you to get this project going. Or was it easy?
Yeah, it was. I had a great producer, Limor Sivan, who I'd worked with. I'd met her on The Private Lives of Pippa Lee. She's worked with Rebecca Miller a few times, and then she worked on a picture called Henry's Crime. I had started working with Chen Hu, the lead actor on Man of Tai Chi, probably around 2006. And I met through a friend of his, who's the executive producer on Man of Tai Chi, Da Xing Zhang, met with Han San Ping, who's the head of China Film Group. And so he supported the idea of me doing a film with Tiger, Chen Hu. And so once we developed the script and it came to this place, I had said to Tiger, "Is it okay if I direct it?" And he said, "Yeah," because I'd been developing the story for so long that eventually it became in my heart and in my mind, in my vision. And then once that happened, I went to Limor because I thought, this has never been done before. A true co-production, you know, to make a film in China, have a Chinese investment, and then also have international investment. So we went on the road and met with ultimately Village Roadshow, and Universal International became our other partner. So it was CFG, Village Roadshow, Asia ultimately, and then Universal International.
I'm definitely curious. I have no first-hand knowledge that when you're making a movie in China, you know, there's the China. It's like you have to have script approval. There's a lot of. It's not like America. Talk a little bit about what it was like working in that environment, and were there any things you had to change as a result?
Yeah, absolutely. It's called SARFT. It's the State Administration for Radio, Film, and Television, and CFG, China Film Group, is a government agency as well. So they have really good communication with them. So what that meant for us is we still had to do all the paperwork and submissions, but our timelines were short. Sometimes you can be waiting for SARFT for a long time. But because we had a good cooperation, we got our answers faster, which was great. But we still had to go through the review, and because they don't have a rating system in China, mainland China. So they don't have PG-13, PG, or R, or NC-17. So all films have to be for all people. That can change, right? So you can have a film like Flowers of War, which has got, you know, with Christian Bale, has some pretty extreme images in it. But you're dealing with content. You have to go through so with SARF, you have to get a permit for filming. To get the permit, you have to have a script approved, as well as your finances and all that, blah, blah, blah. Man of Tai Chi originally was set all in Beijing, so I had to take the underground fighting out of Beijing, and I couldn't have a corrupt police officer in Beijing.
Of course.
And I was cognizant, I was in my mind thinking I have to make a PG-13 movie for blood and for violence. So once you get a script approval, so for me, you know, I always think of challenges When people say, what are the challenges? Well, you just had to change your script. To me, that's opportunity. So I was like, okay, well, what does that mean? What do I do? So then in the end, it kind of opened up the film. Now I had this whole Hong Kong element. So they approved having a corrupt cop and underground fighting in Hong Kong or Macau. And so that opened up that. And then once you finish the film, you have to go through technical censorship, which is, how does it look and what's the visual? What did you end up filming? And so then I had to ultimately cut. I had some sequences where you could see my character break someone's neck. So they wanted to have that off camera. And I had to take down some of the violence. So
does that mean in the future, though, there could be like an alternate cut for like America or outside of China? Or does it have to be uniform throughout the world?
In our situation, contractually, it had to be a uniform cut. I looked into the idea of having a different cut, but I wanted to honor this engagement, this contract. So, but to answer your question, absolutely, you could open up the movie, and if the distributors were interested in a director, it would be a different version of a director's cut, right? So you could have the, I guess you could, if you wanted to sensationalize it, it was like, censored from China,
right?
But
well, unrated cuts or extended cuts are very popular on Blu-ray.
Yeah, so you could do that whole thing. I could do that, but I'd have to get approval for that, and with our time frame, couldn't really do that.
Was the experience? I would imagine the movie looks great, and I would imagine you did a great job. Like I would imagine that the people involved in this are very happy with the output, with what you created. Has this sort of whet your appetite in terms of maybe wanting to get behind the camera again, or are these producers that worked with you like saying, "Oh, you did a pretty good job. What else do you have?"
Yeah. Yes to all of that. I certainly would love. I loved directing, and I loved the. I'll just say that I had a great experience, and it was born out of having a story to tell. So I'd love to find another story to tell and direct it.
I've been asking this of everyone recently. I don't think I asked you this at the side-by-side junket. Is there anything that you collect?
Collect. I don't know, I've got a couple of typewriters. I mean, I guess you're a collector once you have more than 3, right?
I would say that does count.
Is it 3?
If you buy the same item, yeah, 3, that's probably collecting.
Right? If you have 2, not so much.
Yeah.
Right? I mean,
yeah,
3...
we don't collect jeans even if you have a lot, but you know what I mean.
Or are you?
Well, maybe,
or are you?
Wait a minute. You could. Yeah, you could. Be
I don't know.
jeans.
Or I mean, when you say, but if you have a lot of something, are you really just a collector, but you don't say you're a collector?
I think.
Or is it the appreciation of the curation of the object?
I have a lot of T-shirts, so do I collect them? I don't know. I might.
But then it's how you treat your different T-shirts, right?
Right. Well, let's get back.
Are you appreciating certain designs? I think once you're getting into the details of what you're buying, like who makes the T-shirt. Like if you have a bunch of 501s, you're collecting, right?
Sure.
Or you're aficionado.
Is there anything?
Or you're a fan.
Is there anything that you collect?
I would say, I guess if that was the case, then I would say the most of the things, I guess it would be typewriters, because I have like 5 typewriters.
That's an interesting. I've not heard that before. I've heard a lot of people talking about collecting books. That's been a very popular thing recently.
Collecting books?
A lot of people are into books.
Like first editions?
Yeah, all that stuff. Old books, just books. Or albums, that's another thing.
Yeah, collecting what kind? I think you have to have a specific kind of, you can't just say that.
I agree. The last time we spoke, I'm going to bring this up again, I asked you if you'd seen Point Break live.
I haven't seen it.
I got to tell you, I think it would be...
Is it still going?
I think it's still going. I'm not 100% it's still going, but I have to say it would be an awesome story. If you know.
I know.
I'm just throwing that out there.
I know. I should visit the folks and say hello.
Just throwing out. I mean, I really think it would be...
but don't you have to go to the source? You'd have to and that was intentional, by the way. Don't you have to... you'd have to go to the creators of it, right? You'd have to go to their...
I think it's on Sunset, I think, or Hollywood Boulevard.
Because they
franchised it. It's on Melrose.
They franchised it, didn't they?
I don't know. It might be.
Who knows?
I'm just throwing that out there.
I got to go visit the folks.
Just saying. You are doing... one of the movies that I'm still really anticipating, and I've been waiting a while, 47 Ronin.
Yeah.
It's coming out end of this year.
Yes.
Have you seen a rough cut?
I have seen versions of 47 Ronin. I have.
Because hypothetically, the person sitting in this interview with you may or may not have gone to set on that and saw some pretty cool shit. I'm just throwing that out there. I don't know if I'm allowed to say that yet. Universal, don't get mad at me. But I'm just saying it looked pretty cool.
Yeah, the world creation is extraordinary. Yeah, and the actors are extraordinary, and yeah.
I'm just saying because they started slowly releasing some trailers. Like there's some international trailers.
Yes,
it's like it looks cool. It looks very unique.
It is. I think Carl and Jan, production designer, Rose. The costumes are world creation's beautiful. Actors are wonderful.
Okay. I'll leave it there and say we'll be talking about that soon, and I don't want to get myself in any trouble. I always listen. I'm a huge fan of sci-fi. That's like a genre that I love, and you have definitely worked in that genre.
A few times.
A few times. I'm always a fan. Have you filmed Passengers, or is that coming up, or?
We're trying. We're trying.
What does that mean?
It means we're trying. It means we have a financier, a great financier. We have a director, and we're kind of in soft prep, I guess, is what you would call it.
For people that don't know much about the project, do you have like a one-liner or anything you can tease them?
In the future, there's a starship that's doing some homesteading. It's going to another Earth-like planet. There's 5,000 passengers asleep. Halfway on the journey to the next planet, something happens, and a man wakes up, Jim. And he's 90 years from Earth, and he's 90 years away from the next planet, and he's alone. And except for an android, Arthur. And what do you do? And he ultimately wakes up Aurora. He doesn't tell her. And so it's a cosmic it's a love story.
See, that sounds cool, man.
Yeah.
But then again, I got to be honest, and obviously I'll say it on camera. I'm a fan of your work, so I obviously, I like seeing what you're going to do, and especially in the sci-fi genre.
Cool.
But I'm definitely curious. You've definitely worked in a lot of genres, and you've now directed. What's like the challenge that you're putting in front of yourself now, as an actor, or as a director, as just in Hollywood, if you will, or outside of Hollywood? What's the thing that you really want to be able to accomplish? You know what I mean?
Yeah, I've been thinking about that. I've kind of gone through a phase. I'm getting the chance to act coming up in a film called John Wick, which I'm really excited about. Dramaction. And then, looking, hopefully, going to do Passengers as an actor. And yeah, I'm thinking the same thing. What's the next, how do you keep evolving, pushing? I was really, I liked with Man of Tai Chi how the film, I felt like I could break a lot of rules, but the film could absorb it, just editing-wise, cinematically, storytelling, so it's very classical, but within it there's a lot of things being pushed. I have character hitting the camera, breaking the fourth wall a lot. There's a lot of kind of fun stuff in that. So I don't know. I mean, I would like to find another story to tell, and I'm interested in how we can tell stories.
I'm definitely curious, how long was your assembly cut for Man of Tai Chi?
Man of Tai Chi, the editor's assembly was 2 hours and 34 minutes.
And that's with all the fat, all the everything?
Yeah.
So did you lose a lot of scenes, or did you lose just a lot of the fat in the scenes?
I don't know the scene count in terms of how many scenes were cut. No, they were either omitted. There's only a handful of scenes that are shorter than they were originally. So the most is, I think what happened is ultimately, I used to have more of a balanced storytelling in terms of the innocence of Tiger.
Sure.
So now we kind of get his life, and And so now it's more oriented towards this guy who's already, my character says, when we meet him, he's already practicing in this house, and there's already something there. So that part, the balance of the film is more oriented to the darker side, the darker path of our hero.
Cool. I have to wrap with you, man. I could ask you a million other questions, but it's a pleasure to see you again.
Cheers.
Congrats.